Hello and welcome to another video part of the coffin, where we're going through a VT500 series state machine and kind of implementing it with my own little special twist, I guess. I would kind of like to talk about some of the references that I have been using for this project, because I've only actually listed this one, the VT100.net, so far, but I think it's worthwhile mentioning the others, and I'll probably put in some descriptions and whatnot. But there's also ANSI.tools, which has like a kind of cool thing. So like here you can kind of just like write in, I don't know, like what does a 36M kind of do, and it will tell me. It'll give a cyan foreground, and it'll give a little sample what it should look. So that's kind of cool. There's also this, which is just from the VT100 website. So if I go to the home page, I'm just using the latest programming manual. By the latest, I mean, I scroll down and it looked like the highest number. And yeah, that's what I'm using for that. I also use the ECMA 48. So that might be one of those keys. But yeah, the ECMA standard 48, 5th edition, and it talks about control functions for character sets, and it has a bunch of things in it. And some of them are kind of defining the things that I'm using. I'm also using terminal guide and .namepad.de. That's quite a cool thing. So it actually talks through some of like how it all kind of works as well, which that's kind of an interesting read, just to see what's happening, and kind of talks about how like each of the kind of things kind of map with everything. We've got some stuff that's not written, but don't we all? And like it kind of talks through all the things as well, and slightly different format, but it's fairly useful. So like for the modes, like we can see we can have like all these different mouse modes. We had the alt buffer, that mode as well, and like this kind of gives a bit of a description of it. We also kind of have like a bunch of things like this is what everything should do, and here's like a little thing, and that's like all generated from like just this file. So like I could download this file and cat it out and do my thing and see what it looks like, and if it looks kind of like this, then I'm doing pretty good. It potentially will, potentially won't, it might crash out. But what I kind of want to talk about is the mouse. Well, I've got a few things that I need to do first. So first off, I've actually done a bit of stuff in the background. And so, for example, I can run bash, and it's got full color support. It crashed. I know why it crashed. It crashed because I moved my mouse, which I'll just try and avoid moving the mouse until we implement that feature. But yeah, so here we can see like the cursor is actually kind of being highlighted on the gutter bar as well. And yeah, I thought I'd chuck that in. But yeah, if we kind of look at, we can also reverse this perhaps, and we can look from origin main to wherever. So I've put in these things here, which could be kind of worthwhile through. So one, I kind of show all the pictures. We see like nicer color. It pages automatically. Yeah, it pages automatically. So here we can see basically when we hit unimplemented or unreachable, it might exit, which is what we kind of want to do. But now I'm kind of doing a VT reset, which is a thing that I kind of define there. Because I define that there, I also have to kind of type def this struct, which kind of means that we have to change a few things. So now VT is kind of passed into every function, so that if I call unreachable or unimplemented or here, it doesn't matter because here is not actually quitting. That was meant to be in another patch, but that's all right. Here we can kind of see I was kind of just shifting things out. So like I kind of shifted a function above just so it would kind of work, and have to pass in VT parameter, and now at the end of main I just call VT reset. Easy. I worked out a better way to do this rather than having a C and O that has the same number, which is very error prone for a human. Probably even an AI if you're using such things. But what I've done is opted to just have the C, and then it looks a bit better. And you can see I've added a couple more things in here, the italic and Gothic, but it's not italic or Gothic. Ooh, no. Not many people support the Gothic mode, but there is Frapper, which is kind of cool. It's like that kind of Gothic thing that you might see in an Asterix comic or something. But so what I've done here is, because I've got the C and the X's, what I can do is kind of just make an array of all the C's and call it, this is the attribute codes for this list, and then I can have a nice little function that can take an enumeration code, which the enumerations should be the same. Like this is 0, 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah, and this is the 0th element, first element, second, blah blah blah, and so this should get the matching code, so I can then kind of just pump it out, and then here this becomes just a kind of one-liner. Print out the attribute code for this element. Did some fancy gutter stuff, so I now have a little helper to build a SGR kind of thing, so it's just the CSI and the M, and this again should be in another commit, so ignore that, but it's pretty similar to kind of what will happen everywhere else. We've also got reset graphics and select graphics, so this is just doing an SGR of 0 and an SGR of the code of whatever thing we pass into this. So this kind of means we can do select graphics bold, and it will kind of turn on that bold. We have to reset graphics first. We could do a select graphics of none or reset, and it will achieve the same result. So this is kind of just setting it either bold or dim, depending on whether it's on. So it kind of looks less invasive most of the time, but you can see where the cursor is. And I could potentially put the color as well, which could be kind of cool. But this commit's just kind of putting in color. I found a double free thing. Well, actually, because I'm compiling everything with ASAN, address sanitizer, it catches memory stuff quite well. So because I freed some data here, I never actually set that data to null, and I had another reference to this array or set or whatever this was. And because of that, next time I call array free, it will try and do this again. So now I kind of guard that on if you've actually got data and I set it to null. And I mean, that could be promoted up into there as well, but it is what it is. And I also found a memory leak when I was scrolling up and down. When I was scrolling up, I was copying the bottom one to the next one, so it was doing some kind of weird funky stuff, which I kind of worked out with some scrolling things, and we've also got some prettying up some data, so now I can probably do a view of temp, which is an output of something. So now it kind of just shows the character code. If there is none, it will put the X value. And sometimes you have points where you have repeated digits or repeated characters. It will now kind of show, oh, that one was repeated this many times. Perhaps I could put a no, it doesn't really work because then, like, when I'm looking in this file, it look kind of weird. So that is a kind of reasonably small commit. Because I'm putting an unreachable in here, I have to pass in a VT. So I'm adding VT to all the places I either was, so this is commented out, but it could get commented back in. Or is, so I've got a couple of points where it is and some without. And then this is where I do the multiplication times thing. So basically check whether the thing before us, if it is, then it will increment it. Otherwise, we'll print the end of what we are. I think we actually lose a thing here. I just spotted it. I love going through this because it's kind of like rubber ducking and like solving your own things. 2326. If we go here, 2326, and so somewhere around here, if we look for if count, I guess, if count. So down here, which, do we do that twice? No, I think we just do it all once. So it leads to it. Perfect. So if we get to the end, we actually want to do this as well. And like this is just always going to be the case, and then we're going to do that. And I think that is kind of what I want, and we can probably do something like this, and that's just because it is matching. And we'll reset count. I think I'll do it that way, even though it kind of looks a little strange. Yes. So now this is what it will look like. And if you didn't have a count, so it starts off at 0 and it gets reset to 0, then it will check whether it has something before it, and if it does and it is the same, then we set it to 2, because now we've seen 2. We've seen the first one and the second one. We start off at 0, and it's just how it is. Otherwise, this is basically the same code as what was. And at the end, if we have a straggler count, so basically, if we have a long run at the end, it will print that out. Cool, fixed the bug. I was missing a thing, and it's kind of a good thing to do. Cursor wrap issues, this is where all those things that I said should be in this commit should have been in this commit, but it is what it is. Basically, I found that on like resizing and like if you did like a cursor jump to this place, it wasn't resetting the pending state of wrap, and so now I can't do that. It's a little weird, that one, but that is what it is. Remove some prints, I do some whitespace stuff. I add in tabs, so this just goes to the next multiple of 8. We can probably see it if we go into here, and so now I'm like just going tab, tab, tab. It's not actually doing quite what I thought. It shows I didn't really test it. So when we go tab, yeah, do I want it? That's because I moved the mouse. So if we do this again, yeah, so I actually want it to be slightly different. Love finding big bugs. So now if we search for tab, we should have a function. I would have thought this would have found it. So we actually want to add on 8 minus, and then we probably want to do buffer cursor.x, and then if we mod, where's my mod? And if we mod 8 of that, and so we're starting off. Yeah, so when it says 1, it's actually 0. No, it's actually 1. So we want to maybe do this. Oh, that's not kind of what I want to do. So if I go here and yeah, that's what I want to do. And then if I do that and then subtract 1 off my cursor, mod it, so they'll be saying whether I'm on a boundary or not. If I'm on a boundary, I just want to go straight to the 8. That makes sense. If I'm off by 1, then I only want to go by 7, which means 8 minus 1. And I think this should kind of work. So we can even test it in this little thing. So if we go tab, it should go to 9, and 17, which is 8 plus 8 is 16, and it will just be like off by 1. If, say, I'm on 2, it should go to 9. Yeah, perfect. If I'm on like anything there, it's kind of going to 9, or it's going to 17. So it's got these kind of tab breaks that are almost like vertical lines that it will never go past there. Cool, fix another bug. We'll commit those bugs in a bit. I've added like a couple of functions that don't actually do anything. So the things that I called, so like for example, I have tried to run things by maybe make this bigger. I just realized this might be a bit small. But if you do something like, do I just have it? Yeah, so if you do VI minus capital C, that means it's in VI compatible mode. And no plugins means it won't read any of my functions. So if I did something like this, I kind of loaded VI for a second, like, kind of. And I think if we took away that, I had it like in a better state at one point. But if we kind of look at what that temp is, it's trying to do some things. And I actually had to implement a bunch of these things. So here we can see this set top and bottom margins and keypad application modes. So I've actually kind of just keypad application modes. I've just put a here statement with a to-do. So that means it will get past that, but it will just kind of say that it needs it. And you can see it's kind of highlighted that, and it's in a format that if I was running it in Vim, so like if I did a set, and you can, I could do something like that, VI minus C. In fact, I could probably just do that. And if I run this, it'll complain or wait like a second, and then it will kind of say this. And it will take me to the places that it's like, yo, something's up here. So not quite exactly the places. Like here, I actually have to go to this, and I have to see that it wanted the mouse press. And that's actually here. So it's not exactly here, and there's that here statement. It's just because of the way C macros work. And here the transitions we don't care about, but yeah, from here we can go CN and we get the next one. And here we've got a little comment, and this is kind of my fix me of like what it's doing. And I actually kind of say that a bit lower, so I have to increment the numbers. But here I'm kind of, I'm just writing whatever I read. So I read in some data, and then I write out exactly the same data back out. And so what kind of needs to happen is, for certain modes, like one in particular, mouse mode, that is something that would be quite cool to kind of look at. And I actually enable a mouse mode in an alternate buffer. So I do 1049, which if we look at, I've lost it, but on this, I'm doing this one, the 1049, which is alternate buffer with it saves and it clears on enter. So every time I run my little program, so if we kind of do this again, and do that, you'll see there's like no real output. There's like a new line. I don't know if that's my program or, well, I can actually find out if it's mine if we output send out as well. It's my program. It does a printf software. Maybe I should try and hunt that down and quash it. But so what I'm trying to say here is like my original shell doesn't get disturbed by whatever is happening in this individual thing. And I might get around to saving that output so I can still see what was getting displayed in like a frame, whatever I might call it. But yeah, so basically when we reset, we disable everything, so we go back to how it was. And when we are in the setup, we enable everything. Easy. I also found a couple of missing transitions, and that was, again, by running programs that I thought, hey, I wonder if this will kind of work. And lastly, I just kind of added a thing so I can push Control-D and it won't like go uncleared. Now I'll just do a little here statement. So what I kind of want to talk about is perhaps the code. If I keep on pushing that, but I want to do that. And so if I kind of if I want to, I think I need to attack this first. So when I write stuff out, I'm just writing everything that I get read in. So, and I read in like a buffer of like 512 at a time. So what I think I actually need to do is I can still kind of exercise the machine, but instead of writing it to the child TTY at this point, I should kind of do this, request a key. So we'll do the key request and we start in ground. We'll process the byte. And here the emitted key is currently a structure of a certain byte. This one here. So it's currently a key, a modifier, and the raw value if the key happens to be is a there is a key raw, which just means that it's like if I push an A, it'll be a raw A, and the raw structure entry will be A, and yeah, and that's how I do it. VT raw and input. Just happened to jump there. On my way back to yeah. So here, when we get this emitted key, we kind of need to do a few things. So firstly, perhaps there's a couple of things I need to do. So if we run this and just move the mouse, it crashes. And so perhaps if I output that to TMP, and we can kind of see why it was crashing, reset this TMP, and we could perhaps clear the history on that just so it looks a bit easier. And yeah, we can tail that. So here, if I just mouse, it will kind of show unknown CSI function input in. So we're kind of closing off a CSI function, and we can see what the input is here. We go and escape CSI start in, and then 3 characters. And what I kind of want to do is work out what those 3 characters mean. All I did was move the mouse. So there's actually yeah, I've still got the. Oh, no, I don't. But so here I'll make a little bash function. All it does is on return it will do whatever the first thing is and lower it, and on start it'll raise it with the H and then just do cat minus V, which basically lets me do stuff like this. So there's a few different modes. If we look at the mouse, modes are mutually exclusive. Last activated mode wins. I've currently got on this last one, mouse tracking with movement, which is 1003. We can see there. There's also 9, and then 1000, 1001, 1002, and 1003. So here I made a little thing. 9 is click only. So what happens if I click? Nothing. Love live demos. Cool. So 9 doesn't do anything in this. And potentially because I'm running in Tmux, it could be that. So what I could do is we can do this whole thing, and I've got like this thing. This is just how I do it. And now if I open up a new terminal, we can declare that F, and we can go F9 and click. And yeah, so now I am getting the codes. So I click once and I get a different thing. And I get different things depending on where I click, to be honest. And I was clicking only with one button there, and perhaps this we could almost go XXD instead, and we do that again and just click, 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 and like Control D to close that off. We can see kind of what was happening there. And again, and we'll get the last bit. So 4D420. So what do we need? These two are kind of opening it. That's the M. So these 3, 20, 2B, 20, and 20, 2A, and 20, 2A, blah, blah, blah. And so what happens if I click in the same spot with different buttons? So I just did 3 different buttons there. So 20, and here we got 22, and here we got 21. Interesting, isn't it? And so there's a few different modes I mentioned. So what happens if we do the 1000? So we get a similar kind of thing here. It's a similar format. I'll give you that. We can also have 1001, and that does not seem to do anything for me. That was just me pushing a character to try and get it rid of. 1001 is this. Yeah, this one is the one that's like, I think if I push shift, it like might spaz out. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's very closely tied to a thing. But if I do 1002 instead, we can see a similar kind of thing with the 20, and I'm only using one button, and they're all pretty similar. I think with this, if I kind of drag at the same time, apologies for the compression, that is doing a thing. But if I did it in the 1000, that doesn't happen. If I drag it at the same time, it doesn't do anything. And then if I have 1003, if I just move the mouse, it will do something. And it will also do things with clicks. And it will also do things with click and drag, and I believe they're all different. You can also get a different format of the mouse if you would like. So at the moment, I'm getting this M format. So everything kind of comes in CSI and then M and then 3 characters. And if we kind of look here, could be this one, could be this one. It's not this one, not this one. Sometimes it's M is the last one. What do you know? So button is the first one, which is kind of what I guess, because that was always the 20 character. So if we adjust it the 9 again, click once, we get 2-0 there. And this is kind of saying that it's 32 plus value, which is kind of saying that I think if I can just do this. Do I have a better one? Like this is so 32 is this. I know it looks like it's 20, but it's actually 32 in hex, and it's a space. And like, can we just see? I used to have another man table for this, but now I do not. And like, is this one a good one? But yeah, that 32, if we look for 32, we should get space. And you'll see here in hex, it is 20. Yeah, I'm just going to close that. That's got too many ands. Thought we got away from ands, but we just don't. So my point is, this 20 is the space. If we subtract the hex of 20 off it, we'll get 0. And if we do another button, so the right button, the middle button, I don't know what other buttons I can click that button, and like maybe that and that. And we can kind of see what we have. And so we have maybe one more to close it off. So we have a 22, we have a 21. Here is a little different. Like we've got an A1. I don't know what's up with that. And then that's just the text of that. And so after that, we get 2. Then we start another, and then we have an A0. So that A steps up a little. Kind of interesting. And then we have a 63. So for context, I've got a little trackball thing, and it's got a few buttons I can click there and there, which are like 2 extra buttons. That's the normal 2 buttons. It's got scroll, which I can click. And the scroll can also click left and right. So I can actually do quite a lot with just this mouse. I don't actually use the mouse that often, but when I do, that's what it is. So how do we go about kind of parsing all of it? We kind of need to have a notion that we have a mouse. So like when we have a key, I think I want to kind of add another key, like this is a mouse. It's just a mouse. And we might need some more stuff in the thing. And where does it complain? It complains about an unknown CSI function. So if we look for our CSI functions, so we have a function list here, and it gives us a hex of 4D and M. I might just do that. So yeah, because I'm in the private ones. 4D, and so we had D, and if we change this to capital M, that kind of makes sense. And this was mouse report, I guess. And we can kind of see what happens like in another table if we go like we can't go capital M there. And what was the hex for it? It was 4D. This does not. So 4D is 10, 11, 12, A, B, C, D, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're looking for a 13, and it was for 13. So we can kind of search for that, and M looks about right. So it reckons this is what it is. This is kind of hard because, like, it is coming through as a CSI function. But it's also like a valid function. Like, what if I do something like hello, and then like go back to the start of the line and like we want to delete one or more lines, cool, and so then we just do escape that bracket, and then we do an M for just the default of this line. So it defaults to PN of 1, so it should delete one line from the line that has the cursor from the scrolling region. And so, like, what does this say here? And like, I could then say hi and just kind of see what it says, and it just says hi. It's kind of cool. It deleted everything. But if I kind of turn on that mode, what was it? If I just go like F1, that did something. So if I just did that, it's doing a thing very similar to this, is it not? Escape something M and then a couple of characters. So like I wonder if we need to somehow know that there are a couple of characters to read. Because otherwise it just kind of looks like a like, is it a mouse mode or is it not? Or I'm torn. This is probably why people. So if I did that, does that like short circuit this and it like never runs this code here? So if I do something like that and unenable, we can just do something like that. And does that mean that, no, I kind of wanted that, but we can do this. We just added a function. We off by one there, so we we do that. Do that, do that. Yeah, cool. That is now working. We're just going to bin that. But yeah, what I kind of want to do is just move the mouse slightly. So it sees that we have that thing, and we do get that. So it does kind of call that, even though we're asking for a key. I think if we're asking for a key, which we kind of know when we're asking for a key, we can go here. Um, when we request the key. So at this point here, we kind of know it here. And I was talking about that before as well, which is kind of a prerequisite here. So that's kind of interesting. Did the high bit do how do I want to do this? So like and like these other modes are like start doing you can do UTF-8 and here it's like just decimal numbers. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that there's so many different modes. Like there's so much. So yeah, I think what we need to do is if we go back to the mouse, so we had this point here, and we know it's also actually a delete line. So if we get the just in the right place, if we also have a delete line, and here we can do like a VT delete line. And we can kind of not pass in the parameter. But perhaps we pass in the parameter because it does only have one thing. So we can pass in param. It's the first one and it defaults to 1, I believe was the thing. Yeah, it defaults to 1. And so then if we get, say, this function and find there and call that delete line instead and kind of make a function here. So it's got a few different things. Maybe we'll do some things there. Maybe here I can do unimpl VT erase. Oh no. What are we? VT erase and line. This isn't what we want to do though. I want to do it up here. So I can do an unimpl, and this is VT delete line, something like that. And so we can just say it's unimplemented if that is the case. And up here we can have a thing or whether it is a thing. And I think here we can just say that this is a Mr. Key dot key equals a VT key. And can we see it? It's like not in a nice place, but we could probably do something like that. Now, it kind of means that the we haven't collected the 3 digits after. And so I guess when we get this, we potentially want to like handle a key rather than do this, because what if is so at least if I do this, I believe it will at least tells me about that sort of thing. We don't use this param, and we can probably give it a param and do something like that. Does that make you happy? And we're just outputting to them there. But I kind of want to see this, and we can move it. We get that delete line 1 because it got the default. But it got there. That's kind of interesting. That's because I'm kind of it's kind of interesting. So if I say, for example, run it under cat and then run the mouse, it'll do a different thing. And I think it should have emitted key. Yeah, so emitted key is now like not liking things. So if we go for 2, unexpected key 2, that means we haven't kind of printed the fact that we know what a mouse is. So I kind of want a different thing to happen if we are a mouse, because it kind of depends on a few things. What do we get with this? We get this key modifier. What it is for now. But yeah, we'll have this, and mouse, maybe we'll just kind of say that is to do at the moment. And so if we do this and do that, yeah, cool. So now it's saying emitted key mouse to do. And it's also getting the 3 characters after. And so I think now what we need to do is, now that we have kind of got the mouse in place, we need to kind of process it if it is a mouse. So if VT message key equals VT key, and we've got a mouse. So if it is that case, we need to kind of mouse. We need to kind of see what kind of mouse it is. And so this is kind of interesting because, like, there are a few different ways of getting the mouse, like all these different ways. Now, I'm kind of just going to assume that I've got the default, but I guess when I start up, I can set it to be the default. But I note that there's kind of is this like an extra one that you get? I think I need to play around with all these different modes, but for now I'll focus on this because I want to get some process done. So if we got the mouse, so if I plus 3 is greater than or equal to unsigned of red, then this is, we'll say unreachable. Expected 3 more characters to describe mouse. and that is going to be that. And so I kind of also wonder what happens if it's out here and doesn't have the right kind of setting. And I guess that kind of we get to the point where perhaps I'll kind of go up here and key modify. Is that what it is? So up here is where we kind of have it. So if we have a mouse, we probably should have some description of what it is. So we could probably have an inline structure for it, and maybe call it the mouse structure. And what's it going to have? It's going to have a button, a column, and a row. So we could probably have an enumeration for, to be honest, button. And then we can have a column and a row, column, and a row. So that is going to be the mouse event, if there is going to be a mouse event. And so this is going to be VT button left, and we'll work out the order to the others. So here we can probably have num buttons. I'll do it manually here, just because it's kind of in line. No, I wanted that key. So now when we kind of go where we're looking, somewhere here. Yes. So if we are here, we now know we have 3 characters that are worthy to look at. So if we look at what buff I plus 1, that's going to be our button. So we're going to have VT emitted key dot mouse dot button, and that's going to be equal to this minus 0x2. That's just how it is. So I think I also want to kind of have a check for I plus 1 is less than 0x20. That's also going to be an unreadable statement. And like, someone could just pass in this, but yeah, expected, like, is value of 0x 20 to 0x ff to describe mouse button. That's going to be that, and then we'll get the mouse. And I think I want to do that, yeah, just to make it a bit nicer to read. So when we got the mouse, we can kind of check that, and perhaps we can. How long does that get? That gets 117. Like perhaps we can kind of check that, like that, because that's kind of what it is. And like if VT emitted emitted key dot mouse dot button is greater than equal to VT num buttons. So we have a few different things here. If it's more than num buttons, that means it's not a valid thing. And so I think here I want to do an unreachable unknown button. And we can probably just give it that, and then emitted key dot mouse dot button, something like that. That one kind of wrapped around, so perhaps I'll do a thing there. And I don't know, perhaps I will have a bit more spread out like that, but that first one will be like that. So that is the button. The column and row are encoded the same values. So I guess I could just kind of copy paste that. And this is now +1 and +1 and uh, column. And then this is just going to be column. And so I think if the column is greater than equal to the BT, where does the width come off? Width comes off a buffer. So do we have a buffer at this stage? No, we don't really have the buffer at this stage because we could be the alternate buffer. So I guess we need to have a buffer equals, or I had it, buffer equals, yeah, so that thing there. Which is kind of, no, it doesn't get shown there. Right, so if this is buffer width, so if that is the case, then expected mouse column out of bounds, and we can say that is greater than that, and we can do something like buffer and with something like that, and then do something like that. Cool, and then so if there's the case there, I might actually get that there. I don't know, somewhere there. And like we can do something like that, and well, I'm not there. Ooh, undo, no, redo. I'm going to close that one, undo that, redo. Yeah, cool. So we get that and kind of do that and do that, do that, do that. And here we are getting the row. That is the row. That is the row. That is also the row, and that is the column. Yeah, column. And then this is going to be height, something like that, and something like that. And then at the end of this, we can probably just go I plus equals 3, something like that. I kind of want to print it out in terms of what this enumeration is, and to do that, I think I want to do define VT mouse buttons list, and that can be something like that. And then here we can have an X VT button left and we can work out the order from there. And I think I had that defined. So now this can be a like VT button, or like maybe mouse button, and that's just going to be a type soon, and then we can kind of have it like that. And then we can print it out a bit nicer, perhaps. And because of that, we would want to also, in this area, do this and perhaps change attributes. I kind of want to do that and do that, and so change attributes for mouse buttons, do something like that, and do that everywhere, and also do the same for that, except get rid of the S's, and then that means down here we can kind of still be whatever the attribute one is, it's that one, and then we can do the same for that, do the same for that, and we can just def that because we're probably going to be using the mouse button strings. Yeah, we can get that, we can do that, we can do that, and do that, and perhaps I also want to change this to like BTN. And where else might I want to do things to? No, that's just like names of things. So when we set a button, we'll have a num button down here. So down here we can probably like get a mouse. Got mouse, and what is it? We have a like button that, call that, and row that, and we can just kind of pass in, and so we'll have a VT mouse button string, just the string, I believe, and then we can pass in the VT method key.mouse.button, and it will just magically do it. And then we can also pass in method key.mouse.column, and VT method key. Let's go back up here, method key.mouse.row, and do that, and then we can kind of see whatever mouses we get out, and otherwise we probably just want to do that, right? I'm nervous. See if this picks up anything. It doesn't get things. Cool. We'll just do a compile and just kind of complain that. Num buttons, so I think we need num mouse buttons. Is that what we want? Right, so these find the U, put an L, and do that. Same thing here. That one, or not that many. That one, and that one's already got it. Cool. So that's already got that. That's pain about that other unrelated thing. So now if I move the mouse, unknown button 35. Cool. Um, so that unknown button, I believe, unknown button, this button, yeah, I would have thought it would be a bit more. What I might do, so I might take that at that point there, and here we can just pass in the O2x, percent O2, O2x, and percent O2, O2x, and just get those three values, buff I plus 1, buff. Honestly, some days I just refuse to keyboard. um, I plus 3. Honestly, get that and then bring that back up. So now we'll at least kind of see where things are. We can run that one again. Move the mouse. So we got 43. Yeah, so this is just on move. So do I still have f of 1006? So like if I, no, 1003. Yeah, if I just move on that. So if I redefine x, yeah, cool. If I redefine that, can I just get into there because you'll let me? And then here we can change this to XXD. We can run that again. We can move the mouse just gently. We can get that. So that's 4D. And this is for a movement. So if it is moving, perhaps I'll have a look at what this does. Again, sometimes multiple buttons could be held down. Just don't really tell you that. Alright, so the head buttons there. What number was it? It was 35. No, that was not one of these ones. Yeah, so if it has a bit of 32, that means that it's moving. Cool. I think, yeah, we can kind of do things a little right. So if we go there, and I kind of want to make the run program just do that so it doesn't pop up with the quick fix every time. Right, so if we get this, so if yeah, if it is this case, I think if this, I want to do we have a static assert? Yeah, we do have static assert, but it is done from Yeah. I just want to static assert that num mouse buttons is less than 0x, and we're gonna like 32. So if this and 0x 20, and that is 32, isn't it? So we have like 1, 2, 4. Those are 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So there'll be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, second bit, and that, yeah, that is cool. So if that and that kind of means that we have a, this is actually a movement, emitted key dot mouse dot movement equals true, and we can probably do this, and then we find that find yes, find that, yeah, cool. And if we or no, n equal the negation of that, that should unset that value. And I think I want to do this, and then here we can do that, and then wow. And then at some point it won't pass one of these checks, and we'll kind of go through. So that means that we need to mouse wherever we do that. We also need to have a bool of movement. Cool, that compiles. So now if we do that, and now if we kind of just move it, got that unknown mouse button 3, it did not know. It's interesting that I had a 3, to be honest. No buttons are down. So if no buttons are down, none. Oh man, that's bizarre ordering. Cool. So in here we have a left, probably. Yeah. We have we'll steal this order: left, middle, right. Left. We can middle. We can go there, and right. And here we can have none. I think that is roughly what I want. And then wheel up and wheel down and whatnot. We'll get to that as we get to it. I want to go slow and make sure that we get the parsing good. Cool. So now it's not crashing out. It crashed out there, but I think it's because we got to the end. Mouse row out of bounds. Yeah. So that's not what I want to do. Sometimes I don't know. So if I just move in most gently, row out of bounds of 21. Now, where actually is this? We're 18. Yeah, I think that, so this row out of bounds. So when we get this, we actually need to take off gutter So this is the row. So this will be top. I mean, they're the same values at the moment. And then like this one's the column. So here we want to make sure that this is left, and this we want to subtract. I think that is roughly what we want. And so now we should be able to, we still can't get right at the bottom, but I think that should be right? So perhaps this is just greater than. So we can move the mouse in that bottomest column. There's like a tiny patch in the middle that's like below the 8. Oh, we can't do it over there. So if we're in the gutter region, we would want to kind of just ignore this. So I think I want to take off all of these things. Maybe yeah. So at this point here, if we get the so if this is less than or equal to gutter left, because we're doing with, that's all right. So at this point here, we can probably go I plus equal 3. Now, because we're doing the I plus equal 3 there, I wonder if up here we should do it straight after basically doing that bounds check. And then here, this is going to be -2, and this is going to be -1. Oh, yeah, we can't do that. All right. We can do that. So then here we would just continue. But we probably want to do that. I think we want to do that in that case. Cool. And then here we would have that, and then here we would have the top. Because that would do that, and here we also kind of want to do and again do that, and here we would gutter top, so we get the right value in the right place, and here we would do that and left. Glad I kind of made them macros because it means I can change the size of the gutter and it would kind of work out. Unknown button, that's a big button. It's a big button, I'll tell you that. Cool. So, yeah, that is because we're still not doing that. So that'll be what's that? So I wonder if we can just make sure that we do all the right things. -1. Last 3 doesn't seem right. That's just I, and that is just I, and that's other stuff. Cool. So that should compile. That looks like compiling. So now we should out of bounds. So that's because we didn't change the out of bounds. We are allowed to go precisely up to the width and the height. So down here it should be getting row 18. We should be able to get, we can't quite get all the way to the top. And that's interesting. 144, and we got 147, which is 3 more. So I feel like I'm not quite getting the gutter off when we should be, which happens there, but this one should be column. So here we got a different thing there. I think that's just a different different place it's complaining. This is interesting that it's showing that sort of thing there. I want to make sure that if print C, this thing here, when we do this, we should make this an unsigned. I don't want to print large negative values like that. And so if we kind of go into here, so it's kind of weird that we can sometimes get into that. I also want to show whether we're moving it. So it got mouse. When we get the mouse of 000, it seems interesting that right, so that is not 000. This is I minus 2, I minus 1, and just I. Cool. So if we do that again, and what is this getting up to? It's kind of a funny one there. So maybe we'll bring this up, kind of having a bit more of a look. So that's where we started. We read in this capital M, then we got C, then we're still getting this stupid value. It's not really that. What I want to do is when we change it to we want to get this when we convert it to that. I actually want to convert it to a specific unsigned int of one that is 8 bits. And then we should get that like 80. And yeah, so this 80 is because here, not this one, this one. So the whole thing that we're doing, 80 is actually an anywhere transaction that is meant to do an execute. So 80 is a function likely in here. So if we search for, I think just 8/0 in this format, we only have one of which. So this is just the C1 characters. How do we search for that? Control. So there's some control functions. And what was it? I wanted 80. See, like 80 is like quite high. These are escape. No, I want like the control functions. Let's just go through C1. How many times do you like have C1 in the air? This bit. Alright, so second one we don't show it in this one. But so H0, so I think we'd have to go 08/00. Yeah, that sort of thing there. Does not say. But this kind of shows, so it's going to be that. That's kind of what I kind of gather from that. But yeah, it's only because it's kind of weird. So 1975. Like it is happy getting a mouse movement right on that corner, which to me would feel like, but then just somewhere in the middle, it doesn't like getting multiple ones, which could be an issue. And to be honest, that kind of goes into the other point where if you haven't requested any mouse operations, you probably shouldn't get written any. And we're writing whatever we get just straight back out. Yeah, it's kind of funny that now is that 82? That's just part of this. I want to just put in a bit more processing. No, from here, from here, I want to kind of just bring out that sort of stuff there, just to show what it is that we are actually writing. So some of this doesn't actually hold anymore. So this is either going to be, so if we have an alternate buffer, it's going to be the alternate buffer. Otherwise, it's going to be a pointer to the primary buffer. And we're going to take the pointer out of that whole thing there. We get that? Yeah, cool. We're going to put there and keep that. Cool. So that compiles. So now if we do this, we should be able to kind of just do this. And yeah, I think it's because it's like in whichever column it is, this column here, I think this column here is always going to be an 80. Well, it's going to be Yeah, I think that is right. And if we kind of hover the mouse there, then anything does it. And like that's 8.1, easy, and like 8.6. But why is it doing it? Because I would have thought that it gets swallowed up in the whatchamacallit. I kind of want to make this a little bigger. So we got a mouse. When we get a mouse, I've lost this. Um, got, got, got mouse. So when we get the mouse here, we've incremented I by 3, which should swallow up 3 of the things. So the next processing, and we get a 4D there, and the next process just doesn't happen ever. But we did get a read just before, and that kind of happens just up here, this read from that. And then it's checking that we have a control function. Now, I wonder if that's because it's just outputting it straight back to us. I think that is actually what is happening. I wonder if we can have something like this, and hash bang, bin bash, and we can just we can cat stuff, but we'll just cat it to dev now. And if we set mod that, we should be able to then just kind of run null, and whatever input shouldn't come back to us. So that's just echoed back to us. And so here, if we run null under there, now if we roll that, it's interesting. Why is it still outputting? I kind of want to turn off. Oh, I did one too many. Do that. And temp, and we set that because that's all kind of gone funny. And we kind of want to go there and get that. And then this is, because we're not running anything under it, it's trying to run whatever we kind of output as that. So if I did something like null, kind of want this, and yeah, it is reading from the child TPY, so it's kind of reading back from us. So in this null, I wonder if we can. I wonder if we can even like kind of do something like that. Looks a bit spooky, but we need to have some kind of can we just do stuff like this? And let's see why. Can we like raw this same as raw cooked? But we can also just go raw. So I think we can STY raw. up there, and it will just magically magic it. Now I kind of want to minus G. What do you save to? Yeah, so if we go STY minus G, it kind of that can then get loaded in. Is that kind of the case? Um, like that's kind of just that in this format. So like if I go something like STTY and the output of that, it seems to do something, and I think it hasn't really changed anything. Who knows? So I guess what my point is in this null, what we should do is old equals STTY minus G, and then at the end, we can even go trap STTY, and we can do this in that string, and we can just pass an old like that, and perhaps we can put it in that, and we can put an exit trap on that. And so now if we do the null like that, we're still getting stuff back from there. I would have thought, but now I can't even exit that. So I think if we go VT a dot out, that will probably do it. So that didn't do what I wanted. I kind of just want money. No echo and no. Well, I wonder if I can STTY minus A, and we have like a echo stuff. So we have echo like that, and I wonder if we can go minus echo. Yeah, I think that's kind of why I won. And if we do that again, so in this then now, um, um, and we can minus G, and we save that to old equals that, and trap Y, and then the old, and we can do that on exit, and we can just turn off echo on that, and then now if we do that, we get nothing back. And so now I think I can just kind of go free will anywhere with the mouse, and it is kind of tracking it. You're not seeing it, but if we kind of go back over here and grep for mouse, I guess, and if we just kind of scroll over there, we can kind of see what is happening. Now, I said that I wanted to work out whether it is moving or not. So I think I want to do a CS there, and if VT emitted key dot mouse dot movement, then we can pass moving. Otherwise, we can just pass in nothing. And I think if we do that, we should see we've got a moving mouse key. And maybe a little space there. So we got a moving mouse key, and if we click and drag, it still kind of does that. So that kind of implies that we need to have tracking for when we have clicked. So if I just click, we can see here this is just picking up which mouse button it is. That mouse button was too much, which I could potentially add in stuff. 128. I wonder if this mentioned anything about mouse buttons that high. So it could be that. Interesting that it was that high. That also unknown mouse button. Do we do it? Right, so we do it after we do this check. I wonder if we should do another check for these bits as well. And I noticed that these bits are not really in these bits, so yeah, I think I get this. So if I scroll, that's a 65. No, so if I carefully click with my scroll without scrolling, we got a if I do it again, we got a hello. I hope this joins back easy. I accidentally went to the wrong window and pushed Control C rather than pushing Control C here. So I gotta stitch a video together. But yeah, so what I was saying is we have a somewhere in here a mouse button none, but do we have a mouse button in the middle? I don't know how you get these wheel up and wheel down motions and wheel left, wheel right. I can try that, see what it kind of pops out as. So if I push that, it's just 67. It's too high of a button, but that's 67. It's like just a bit more than that. In fact, is that if I go the other way? Yeah, so that's 67 the other way. Um, um, and then what about this 4 and 5? How do I get that? So if I go, the middle is just like that, but if I go down, that's 5, and then if I go up, that's 4. So this 64, yeah, so it's basically saying things over this. This is kind of weird. Yeah, so I guess if it's 64, then it starts at 4, and I have to subtract off that 64, and then because I got a. So this was a wheel down. Well, it must have been a wheel up. Wheel down is 65, yeah, so it's a wheel up, and if I get that, then like this is a. So if it's that bit, I subtract off that, and then it's starting from that value, and then if I get that, which I got from these top buttons. So if I click that top button, that's 128. And if I click the other one, it's probably 129. And that's those ones. And yeah. It's kind of a weird layout for how you get the buttons and whatnot. So it kind of means that this way I'm doing it with just mouse buttons won't really work, because this list um, it, like has these in this particular order. I mean, I guess I could hmm. Yeah, I'm not too sure what best to do there. Um, I guess if it is over that, then we can then test this, and then if it is over 64, then we just subtract 4 off it. Yeah, I think that's kind of roughly what I want to do. Um, so if we go here, and this was 64, which that what we want, that's 32, so that should be 64. It's just one more over. So we would have that sort of thing, but we would also have this sort of thing. I think, or plus, no, would have plus equal 4. Um, and then this would kind of equal that. So when we get the uh, none, when we get a mouse, but a none, so we would continue on. So that was 4, find that, and then this is wheel up, and then wheel down, and the wheel left and right. Was it left and right? So we get that left, and we get that, and then we get that, and then we get right as well. Now, does that mean that I think I kind of want to have the static assert perhaps in there, or only run ones, but I kind of want to say the lowest thing. In fact, I could even have overkill of up here as well, that it should be that as well. Um, and it should also be greater than 4, because we're going to be adding 4 onto it. So if we do that and then kind of run that, so if we click, we get left, right, middle. If we scroll down, and we get wheel down. We scroll up, wheel up. Right, so this is wheel left. It goes a bit higher up. It's around there when it happens. Wheel left and wheel right. And so if I do this one, 128, I can kind of do that by kind of the same logic. If it's has that bit, we take that bit off, and then we add on the 8, and then whatever it is, and see below. I assume it, like, I don't quite know what it means by see below there. Um, it's not very clear, is it? I mean, it's actually quite useful, but so that's kind of interesting. When we get a mouse release, we don't actually know which button got released, because we could also have the problem if I push down 2 things. I've still got the left down, and I can kind of release it, and I wonder if that kind of does that. I kind of want to do that grep again. So we get the left, we put down the right. I'll let go of the right, I'll let go of the left. That didn't actually have another And it's kind of interesting that it says it's the left button dragging. So it's not super good with the multiple buttons kind of held down. And I think, yeah, so I pushed down control there, and we got a non-button 16. And it said that here, 16 was control, and I pushed down the left button. So what we can do is add in that logic as well. So if we have this sort of thing, so here I want to actually have 16 less than, but that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. 16, 16 less than. No, I need a 16 less than. Yeah, that's what I want. And because of that, I probably want this to all be up the top just so it's kind of in order and can kind of go down again. And so this isn't movement this time. This is we have a control down. So we would probably want to say the modifier, and we can do that in VT modifier, and we have a control somewhere. Easy, look at that. And so now we do that, and I hold down control and click. Doesn't actually say because we don't print it, but what we could do is print it. And so like this key modifier, I wonder if that should kind of print out this, if that kind of makes sense. And like do something there. Hard to know. But what I kind of want to do is perhaps we can break out this into if print just the modifier, and then we can kind of adjust the modifier, and then we can call that mod, and then here we can kind of do this and do that, and then do this, and then what are we returning here? We're just returning ret, and I think we do it in that kind of manner with that kind of macro thing. Cool. And so here we can kind of have ret equals bt if print modifier, and we can just pass in the BT, we can pass in the stream, we can pass in the key dot modifier, and it's just and so that's all good, and so that's kind of that. And I kind of want this to be also kind of a thing. But if ret equals -1, we should probably return that -1. Do we? Yeah, we do that kind of logic up there. And here, I kind of want this to be BT if print just the key part, to be honest. VT, and we'll do VT, we'll do a file, we'll give it a stream, and then we can have a VT key, and we can just have that. And it can also kind of just be that. That's cool. I'm playing that. So here we can do a select on key, but not a select, a switch. I need to remember which language I'm in. And that's that. So yeah, like the key.key, that kind of knows. So this is like the key, but then the raw is kind of stuck with this key modifier. So I think I kind of need to, and like when do we define you? We define you in there. I think I need to define a structure, which will be kind of just the key, the raw, and probably this mouse component. And here we can VT key, but like what do I want to call it? Key struct. Key. I don't really want to do that. Key. Might just call it that, a key value, and then we can key value, because it's kind of got everything it needs to have for that key. This will probably mean that we have to change a lot of things. So this is all just mod. It's kind of easy. We don't actually use that. We can potentially do something like that. Right, so at this point here, this is going to be a key. What do I even call it? A key model key value. So that can be the key value. And because of the key valueness, I think I kind of want to pass in a pointer to the key. And then this can be the key of the key, if that kind of makes sense. And then this can be the key of the raw. And then the rec we don't do anything. That is because I think we need to kind of have this, and I think I need to do an undef print here, and also kind of do one there. And this can be key as well. And then here we can kind of just go key rec, maybe f print, and this can be the key, and we will print in the pointer to the key to the key, and then this whole thing will kind of go away, and then we'll go ret plus key ret, and I think if this key ret is -1, we should probably just return -1. And that kind of means that we don't need this at all in this kind of function. Right, so here we think we need to do something like that, which kind of a bit gross. So that key value, I think I kind of want this to be type. We allowed type like that? Yeah, cool. So here we can do key type. And I think that's a bit nicer. And then this, well, can just be a key dot type. And then this is a key dot type, like that sort of thing. And that's probably in a few places. And yeah, I didn't say that before I did that. Yeah, I could probably just go to the next place. Yeah, so, that's probably like that needed two things there. Right, what do we want here? Key dot. Can we do something like that? Is that like a thing we're allowed to do? We are allowed to do. And then are we allowed to do something like this? We are. Perfect. Key dot type. Is that just something we want to do in a few places? Did require a few things, didn't it? So if we do that sort of thing there, should have done that other one first. Cool. So if we do that, do something like that. I feel like we're pretty close. Oh, you really did have to smudge the key like that. Do something like that. Do something like that. What the one here? That. 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 I feel like I'm close to the end. Cool. And then I think there's something like that. And it was real worth it to do this, I swear. And then if we do this now, we still need a few more. Oh, yeah. Um, God, it was tough. Can we, yeah, that's right. There, let's see, he's super close to the end, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll see. And then this was that real close. That was one. Oh, something like that. Oh, that's like one more thing. Cool. So we never return. We just need a return. Correct. Now the whole point of that was now we can kind of print out just the particular prints of it. So if we got mouse, where we do this, got mouse button, we can kind of just do VT if print key this modifier, and then we want to pass in just the what am I up to? Just the emitted key and dot modifier, and we can probably just do something like that. It will look kind of weird and janky, but now if we do control, we get the dot mouse button, which means that we're holding down control when we clicked it. I note that when I let go, I don't get that information. Shift, I do not kind of get anything from that. Alt, super, I don't, but like they'll get caught by something else. This, we can put in the thing for shift. So what it is now see, this is kind of where I get a little worried because we perhaps so we wanting to go from 16 to 8, so we just want to go something like that, and that, and this 8 was alt. Now, so why I'm a little worried is because if we want to do this and maybe now take 4 off and 4 off and then do the same thing again, and now we want to do shift. So if we do this, it won't compile. It won't compile twice. So why that is because we actually have more than 8. So like more than 8 things. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the dot. So I would have thought, I think this, I want to be like that. I think so. This will make one of them pass. So what I can do is put a. We don't care about this one, but we'll still do it perhaps. But like, it will never really happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just can't really capture it easily without kind of changing how things are, because so I can kind of do it. If we still have this, yeah, so I still have that. If I do that and I shift and escape doesn't really do much, but if I do 103, if I do shift, right, so in my terminal editor, shift and the key does not do much. Same with super, you can't really catch that. Oh, you can. Cool. So now I think this is good enough that I should be able to get whatever it was. So I should be able to get control, and I should be able to get alt, and I should even be able to get both together. And it should be able to pick out which buttons, if I push the wheel to the left or right, it kind of goes up a bit. So it's going up around here. And if I scroll, that's like, yeah, that shows. And if I kind of push a few buttons, yeah. And then this high button that doesn't know about. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So I've lost how long I'm actually being because I kind of paused the video in the middle. But I think I'm going to leave it at this kind of point. There's more to be done, of course, but this kind of gets us to a point where we have a bit of understanding on what the mouse is doing and like what values we can kind of get from it. And then based on that, we need to determine what mode we're in as to whether we should send the client underneath any of these mouse values, or even we perhaps might need to transform it into a different formatting report, which that should be fun. But I think that is probably enough for now. I'm getting a little tired, so it's hitting the keys in the wrong way, if you know what I mean. But so we did this, and I think I hadn't unimplemented for the actual delete line object. So this is kind of just putting in the keys. Now we had to do a bit of changing. So basically changing that type, and that changes a few signatures here and there. And that is, so we could start doing the mouse to do in there, and then that kind of, we can then just print whatever the key is, and it will just magically print it. And so if I do this, that's good. So now I have a bit of places that I have to kind of do things. I fixed up that tab stop right at the start, so that's kind of that. I'll just include it in this kind of commit. The delete line we're adding, but we've got an unimplemented. If we're requesting a key, it is just a mouse. Perfect. We kind of have that. This was just more of the type changing stuff. This is this type changing, lots of type changing. And we added a function, but we didn't really implement much of it. Here we didn't actually print everything, so now we do. I'll just include it in this commit. This is so this is capturing the mouse. Perhaps some of this could get yoinked into another function. And yeah, I think that kind of works, because even if you're the very last character, it should still get to this point, and it'll be like, yo, don't have enough to kind of capture the mouse. That's more just of those string things. Cool. And start of mouse support. So the idea is basically we're going to be able to have a thing run underneath, and like I do note that it maybe is going a little slow because it's now processing a lot of stuff. But the idea is, depending on what the program underneath asks for, so the program underneath will send one of these codes to get into an event where it's actually requesting things. Otherwise, it's like not requesting any events. Easy. And depending on that mode, this program will send whichever events need to be sent. So I'm currently capturing every tracking and movement and releases and whatnot. But if someone only requests this, I don't want to send all the movement things. I'll still capture it because it can be perhaps useful to see, oh yeah, I was doing this. Oh, I was like clicking here. Maybe like a user would be wanting this, like if you're capturing telemetry or something, but yeah, who knows? I mean, this is just like a little test program. It is what it is. But yeah, did I commit that up? I did. I shall push it up, and then it shall be pushed. And then now it's up on whatchamacallit. I could potentially put in some of the references in the README. I'll figure out a good way to do that and maybe add it into some of the YouTube description ads. Not ads, don't have ads, don't want ads. The description of the YouTube videos. But yeah. Until then, thanks very much for watching, and I see a few of you have seen some interest in it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. Until next time, see ya.